Hello, how are you? Amanda, makeup enthusiast. We're going to talk about traditional makeup, specifically Beauty Society, and how I would wear this Beauty Society makeup. Here's where it starts. I love Saint. I sell Saint. It is where my home is. 80% pigmentation. It all fits into a palette that's customizable 100%. It is $16 a color. Everything is foundation. Beauty Society is my skincare. I've been using it for almost a year. I do sell Beauty Society and my skin told me it's good. Skincare is personal. Try it and see what your skin tells you. Message me, let's have you try it. I love the variety of options for regimens for skin types because everybody always tells me that because I'm 44, my skin's drying. No, my skin is maturing and it is oily. So when you tell me I make my skincare to be for dry skin, I'm gonna look like a grease monkey and I don't want to. I want my skin to get balanced. And so Beauty Society did that because they had something for maturing oily skin and I never found that anywhere else. So my skin is balanced and I love it. And then I thought, well, why don't I try the makeup? So I did. I tried their cream sticks because I love cream makeup, but it's still very fine coverage. I still don't even think it's at 40% pigmentation. I just don't. And I've got stuff to cover and I like my stuff covered. And so it just wasn't for me. Then I tried their liquid foundation. This is still a light to medium coverage. It's about $38 for a bottle. So still price points different. But the finish, it is skincare infused for maturing skin. Saint isn't. And if that's something that's important to you and you're looking for a makeup that works with your changing skin, I highly recommend Beauty Society. Here's the deal though, the pigmentation is huge for me. So I hybrid it with Saint and I'm gonna show you how I wear Beauty Society makeup. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prime. So I use Milk Hydro Grip. I love this stuff, you don't need much. Okay, so we're gonna prep this onto the skin. I always start on my cheeks because it's where I want my makeup to stay the most. And I bring it around. We're not just using Beauty Society foundation, we're also gonna use their concealer and their contour. It's a bronzer. That stuff's warm, but it's still really good and so creamy and I absolutely love it. The longevity of this wear is great. I find the look to be very comparable to Saint, but again, it's skincare infused. Skincare infused makeup is not meant to replace your skincare. It's just a bonus. And so I'm going to be using their concealer. It's called Incognito. It's got anti-aging in it. This one is an oil-free for their liquid foundation, age-reversing foundation. So this is all good. This is all really good for you. It's packed with skincare. And the fact that the finish is good. When I wash my face between 8:30 and 9:30 p.m., my makeup still looks good, sometimes better than Saint. Sometimes better than Saint. I have never said that about Tarte, Charlotte Tilbury. I'm looking at all of them. Catrice, Estee Lauder, Dibs, Merit, OG, Hourglass. I have e.l.f. I've tried them all and I've never said that about any of them. I'm saying that about this. Okay, so I have my primer on and I am going to grab a brush. I'm going to use a Saint powder brush. I love these brushes because they work well with thick creams, but also with liquids. All right, we're going to use the foot end mostly, and I am going to do about a half a pump right here. And we're going to add this. I always start on my apples on both sides. And then I just start working to balance and I build. Now this is a really great match. I can color match you. They also have a color matching quiz with their makeup if you don't want to use me, but use me. Use me. And I just bring this down and around and it doesn't give the coverage that Saint does. When you've seen me try Saint, use Saint, I've been using it for 5 years. It almost erases everything and gives me an incredible balance. But this doesn't have that dry and setting finish. This has a really pretty finish, but I always start with a base and I do bring it up over my hyperpigmentation and my scarring. I'm gonna grab a little bit more, but using Saint helped me with something. It helped me not turn my whole face one color and feel that I needed to give 100% coverage with the first layer. I do like to add extra coverage on my cheeks, and then I will add some right here for some balance. And then I'm gonna bring this up and under my eyes. But I don't bring it everywhere and wash me out, but it is one of those things that this makes sense when the rest of it starts coming together. But playing with makeup is fun. Playing with makeup is so much fun. I use this to give some redness canceling, but again, I'm just giving a little extra coverage on my cheeks, and then I'm bringing this under my eyes. Okay, this is how I have found I get the most out of the concealer, is by adding just a little extra coverage here, because this is quite a bit thicker and I don't want to have thick makeup. I don't want that thick layer, but playing with makeup, the ritual of makeup for me is fun. All right, now I'm gonna go in, I'm done with my Perfect 10 foundation, and I'm gonna go into Incognito. In this foundation, I'm using the color Alluring. I could probably bump up a little bit darker one shade. Incognito, I'm using shade 2. I didn't want to go to their lightest. All right, and so I'm just gonna add some Incognito right here to the mid. I'm gonna skip my nose. We all know I do my nose totally separate. I like to hit the little peaks on my lips, get my chin here. I have some scarring, so I'm gonna correct that. I always add a little on my apples, smile lines just to lift. Brightness brings out, and so I add a little lift. And then we're gonna go into this inner corner where I'm the darkest, just like that, and I bring it down and just under the trough and up. Okay, I'm gonna just grab what's right here. We're gonna go, I never wanna go straight from here to the inner corner because it could get so goopy, but playing with this has been it's been fun. I mean, 5 years with the same makeup, it's just fun to play with something else, and then I loved it. And I was like, hot dog, right? Okay, we're gonna take that same brush, and I'm just gonna press this out. Now, the difference between this and Tarte, when I put Tarte on, it almost sets, and if it sits too long, it gets really hard to blend. Incognito does not do that. And it goes on almost like a cream. And I have this pretty dewy finish. And I just bring this out. Blending is a dream with all of these products. It's so nice. And I'm just going over my scarring here, over this scarring, and then lifting my smile lines. One of the things that stopped me in my tracks with traditional makeups were my smile lines. I always had cracking, I had gathering, and then this guy right here. I don't do the things that freeze the things. And so I always had cracking in those areas, and it made me hate my makeup after an hour or two. I don't need to touch up with this makeup, but I always like to highlight my Cupid's bow with lightness. And then I'm just gonna go and stipple on my orbital bone, and then just like with Saint, I bring it up to that soft tissue. But this doesn't crease. I don't get creasing. I don't get crepiness. It doesn't start separating like Tarte always did, and it's not drying. It doesn't give that matte finish that makes your skin look older than it is. And so many times with traditional makeup, I had friends who would let me know, sometimes when you do your makeup, it makes you look older. And I'm sure they were being my friend. I didn't think so. It hurt my feelings. So, but it's true. But this Incognito mixed with Perfect 10, they don't make me look older. I love the finish of this makeup, but also the fun of this makeup. All right, now I'm gonna go into their contour stick. This is the color Soul. The next shade up is called Java. I find their contours to be incredibly warm, and they are very creamy, whereas Saint, they have a lot more options as far as colors with everything, but they have cool tones, which is important when you're working with contours, as shadows are cool, tans are warm. I find this to be really warm toned, but I don't find it to be bad. It's almost like a bronzer method, which is what we did before contours were a contour thing. All right, so I'm just gonna go into this, we're gonna wind it up, and less pigmentation, but you still get some coverage. I always wipe over here I make sure I get towards my hairline. All right, and then I'm gonna come right over here. I'm gonna get just at the base of my cheekbones, and then I hit right up here because I'm bronzing, okay? I get my jawline. Applying this is so easy. And then right here, I'm gonna go on my nose. I go to the upper top sides, not necessarily down the middle, obviously, but I got a bump. I do prefer contouring with Saint on my nose, not gonna lie, but I'm not gonna have a contour for one part of my face and a contour for another, so we're gonna make it work. But this is how I would wear my Beauty Society. And there are days where I wear my Beauty Society. I love my Saint. I mean, the convenience, the speed, the price, the pigmentation, all the key points I always push are the things that genuinely keep me with Saint. I love giving options though, and this is such a beautiful makeup. Now again, as this sits, it doesn't start to set and dry. This is creamy. It blends so well. I always start here because I'll forget. And then I bring it down my neck because this is going to bridge my neck to my face. Okay, my neck is always lighter than my face. And so having this right here just gives me a little chisel. All right, a little lift, but then bringing it down bridges everything together. I'm not going to add the cream directly to the neck because then you just end up, it just doesn't work. Okay, it just doesn't work. Okay, so I have that all done. I'm going to start with my forehead because like I can do a good forehead. I'm really good at foreheads. I mean, I don't like to toot my own horn, but man, can I contour a forehead? But let's just look at how easy this blends, okay? So I'm just going to, with little swirls, bridge it over and push this over too, because you want it to go across. But you can see when I say that this is warm, this stuff is warm. And I bring it down my temple, but I start with swirls and I make them bigger. Because again, we're brontouring here. But look at how nice that blends and how it just gives that warmth. This is so, I don't know how summer will work for me because I tan very well. And I do think that this could push me to full Oompa Loompa. Okay, but just contour to your best. I always take this end empty and we're just gonna pull out, pushing it outward. And it gives that balance that we really like. I don't have a lot of correcting to do on my forehead. Everybody's different. Let's work together on this. Now I'm gonna come over here to my cheekbone. I always stipple on this part. It just makes it easier, but this stuff just, gosh, it blends so well. It's very satisfying. And I just bring this in. It is very easy to overblend. Very easy. I'm stopping. So hard to stop. But you always want to underblend your contour on your cheeks because you're going to be adding blush, which will blend it more. And then you're like, I don't even see it anymore. Well, that's because you overblended. Okay. But I always start at the top. I come onto that cheekbone. I don't know why I hold my hand like this. It just makes me feel better. But then I smile. I always want to see the natural curve of my cheek. But look at how pretty that is. It works pretty well with my hyperpigmentation. Not gonna lie, I'm going to see a doctor about it because it's driving me nuts. But there's no topical that can fade discoloration like a dermatologist can. So I am gonna go see a dermatologist about it because I want to, and that's all that matters. So we're gonna go to the nose and I'm gonna just start blending this up towards the natural curve of my brows, bringing it down and around and just blending it down. I do bridge it together just like I do with my Saint, just to blur that bump, okay? So I'm just blending this down until I'm happy. It honestly, like when I say this blends, I think it blends easier than Saint because Saint's contours are dense. Beauty Society's contours are creamy, okay? We're gonna go to that incognito and I'm gonna add a dot and then I'm gonna just dot right up here. Very minimal concealer. You don't need a lot of concealer. If you feel like you do, stop and just start light because it's amazing that when you fix one thing, it fixes another. It's like wearing red lipstick and then it reduces the color of your face when you have discoloration. I saw something about that too. Sometimes doing all of this makes this lighter, Okay, so we're just gonna get that tip. And I always use my finger on my nose. I just find it easier. And then I'll go through and blur the edge with the brush. Look at how good that is. Okay, now I've talked about this a lot. I've been showing this palette here. Here's how I use Beauty Society. Again, I've said this before. The pigmentation is light. The price point is different. And so this is Saint's Lip and Cheek collection. I recommend the heck out of this collection. You get 7 lip and cheeks for $88. 7. Some of them are matte, some of them are glosses. These are lip colors. They are blush colors. These are such a good variety for all the seasons. I have a blush from Beauty Society. It is one, it pulls my redness through. I thought it's like a mix of a pink peach. It doesn't have the pigmentation that I want. The price point is beyond what I would ever ask anybody to spend on a blush lipstick. These are $46 for one color, which means you can buy 2 of these for $92 and have 2 colors, or you can spend $88 and get 7. hybrid it with your Saint. Hybrid it with your Saint. That's all I'm telling you. I cannot ask anyone to spend $46 on a low pigment blush. Okay, so I'm gonna go into, there's so many good colors. I love my pinks. And so I'm gonna go into Hollywood, and I'm gonna start over some of my scarring here just a little bit. I prefer doing it this way, okay? I'm even gonna take a little bit of this color, which is nude, and I'm gonna mix that a little bit with that Hollywood, okay? Then I'm gonna take, and I'm going to go in, I love using all different colors, but I'm gonna use Hollywood first, and then I'm gonna touch a little bit into nude, just like I did on my apples, and I'm going to go right up here. And I always start on the high point of my cheek here, smile, and then I'll come down to the apple. This gives you foundational coverage as a blush. Beauty societies will not give foundational coverage of 80% pigmentation. And again, you could break it down and just get $16 for one color or $46. I can't bring myself to say you need this blush, because you don't need a $46 blush. You need another one. I said, I'm gonna need a different color, but that is almost $100 for 2 blushes. No, I can't ask anybody to do that. So I hybrid it with a foundational coverage lip and cheek color from Saint. And look at how pretty that is. And then you can I just find that these colors are they check so many different boxes. Okay, let's do our lip. I'm gonna grab a brush. Here we go. I'm gonna use my Beauty Society contour as my lip liner. It's such a pretty color. And I'm just gonna line my lip with this contour. And it's just neutrally very pretty. Again, this is the color Soul. And then I'm using a Saint Multitasker brush. And it's pretty, but this is how I would wear my Beauty Society. Okay, now I'm gonna go into my lip and cheek collection. I'm gonna grab this dark, scary color, which is Black Cherry. There's a Clinique color that it's close to. And I'm just gonna add that here. And it just gives this really beautiful mauve, and it mixes so well. It's a gloss, so it's hydrating, and it goes so well with that contour as a liner. If you want it lighter, by all means, go into Tropicana, which is this color right here, and you can add that to the middle, lighten it up a little bit. You could grab Hollywood, lighten it up, pink it up a little bit too. There's options. Having 7 very different colors can do so many different things. Now I'm gonna set my makeup. I use Blue Marble. It's a film forming setting spray. It's so good. Also works as a great hairspray. All right, and I'm just gonna take this brush and I'm gonna press it in because it's film forming. I love giving everything just like a final blend. And I go into my important areas. My forehead, where I have a lot of creasing and fine lines, and then around my eyes where I have a lot of creasing and fine lines, and then my smile area because there's a lot of creasing and fine lines. That is how I wear my Beauty Society. I highly recommend, if you're looking for a skincare infused foundation that still adds life, look at this finish. It's very similar to when I wear my Saint. Beautiful finish. I love it. I love that it has anti-aging in with these products. And then I love to hybrid it with our lip and cheek collection. Those are my recommendations. If you want to try this makeup, message me. Let's do a color match for it. Again, I'm using Alluring, Shade 2, and Soul, and then Saint's Lip and Cheek collection. It's such a great collection. I can't say enough good things about any of this, and my makeup will still look good at the end of the day. That's it. That is my makeup and how I would wear Beauty Society. Have a great day.